Ukrainian hryvnia, which is a bit more than a pound. Very good for the money, like £2.80 for the apple wine. Maybe I should start asking for. For example, probably. Cheers. Cheers to that. Hello there guys and welcome from Chernivtsi, Ukraine. And today I'm going to have a bit of a challenge to basically see how far £10 goes in Chernivtsi, Ukraine. So I'm not doing this to kind of kick a man while it's down. I know the economy in Ukraine is very bad at the moment for very obvious reasons. More to encourage you guys to come here as soon as it's safe to do so, and hopefully this can help Ukraine get back on its feet, because by God it's going to need it. Also, I should say that whilst the prices here are very reasonable for myself, it's the absolute opposite for locals. Who are earning the local currency, the hryvnia. They're finding the prices are going up and their wages are being devalued all the time. So this is purely the perspective of somebody here with kind of dollars, euros, pound. So guys, I got my £10 with our lovely queen, God rest her soul. And I'm going to change this now at the local change office. Дякую. So I've changed my money, and for that price I've got 450 Ukrainian hryvnia. So let's see what £10 or 450 Ukrainian hryvnia can buy you in Chernivtsi, Ukraine. Let's see how far it goes. I know in England it won't go very far at all. First port of call, a cafe. I come to quite a bit. I fancy a coffee. Very cool little cafe. It's called the Vienna cafe. Let's go see what it's all about. Добрий день. А можна сразу, будь ласка, американо без молока? Becoming quite experimental now with my new camera, trying to like balance it and keep it in places to get shots. Quite scared it's going to fall on the floor actually and smash, but so far so good. See, I come here quite often to do fantastic breakfasts. I've already eaten this morning, or a little bit, so I don't quite fancy a breakfast, but a nice coffee, can't go wrong. Very good place, very good music, very good service, atmosphere, and also a pretty good view of the street as well.
Дякую.
Без молока ты попросила?
Да, без молока. А вы не против, если я потом немножко внутри снимаю, просто заведение показывать? Да.
Very good coffee in Ukraine too. One thing I like is that you order a kind of coffee and they understand that they don't know how you like it. If you like it strong, you like it weak, you like it like with a little bit of milk, or like Starbucks style, or like a massive mug. So they just give you a little shot in a cup and they give you a glass of hot water and you can just put in as much as you like. So I like it probably about that. Yeah, let's give it a go. So good coffee in here. The coffee is also Austrian, but the cafe is Austrian and the coffee also. You can even see. Vienna on here. Vienna is Vienna, 1862. And one thing I love about Chernivtsi is how it's so old world European. So the buildings are very old European classical, which isn't something too unusual. You can go to any European city, old European city, you can see it. But I like how it's still very oldie worldy in terms of there's no big chains here. There's no McDonald's, so you can walk down like Vienna, like this city reminds me a bit of Vienna. And you're walking down and you see the exact same shops as you see on any high street in, I don't know, Hull, Newcastle, Sheffield, H&M, McDonald's, Costa, Starbucks, and it seems like a bit of the culture's not been preserved so well, especially in the old high streets. There's often some modern buildings there, and these people walking around, they don't dress so traditional anymore, they don't dress so classical. Here they still do, and it's the music's still here. There's probably some law, I think, in Chernivtsi that you can only play classical music on the high street. It's very, very well saved in terms of this classical old world European feel, and it's something you don't find, unfortunately, these days in lots of other European cities, especially in Western Europe. So yeah, I'll show you guys inside now. The inside's just as impressive as outside, maybe even more so. Yeah, upstairs it's very cool, very classic Austrian style. As I said before, Chernivtsi was part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, so it's quite a big kind of Austrian feel here. One thing about cafes in Ukraine is you can almost always find alcohol in them too. Maybe it's a kind of Austrian thing, German thing, I'm not sure. See lots of top shelf spirits, cakes. You can basically find whatever you want in cafes in Ukraine. This in total came to 50 hryvnia, which is a bit more than a pound. A bit more expensive than most places, but you know, for this kind of place, it's still very reasonable, I think. So that's my first 50 gone. Still got 400 left. So let's see what we can find further down now. I could do some food. One thing I like about Ukraine is they have something called a business lunch, which is basically a bit of a deal. You get a drink, a starter, and basically a 2-course meal and a drink. It's normally pretty cheap, so let's go to somewhere I like to go and let's get some lunch. Weather's fantastic today, by the way. It's been pretty bad for the last week, but just yesterday the weather picked up and now it's a good 22, 23 degrees. You can walk around. I'm in those shorts. As we can see. Reading the news. The news about which is the best spirit in the city. It's also in English too. This is a very famous pub in Chernivtsi. It's also a menu as well, which is pretty cool. And basically this is what a business lunch is, or this is at least a business lunch menu. So it's normally every day from like 12 till 4, 12 till 5, and for like a set price you get basically what you can see here. So soup, main course and a drink, and this works out at 135 hryvnia, which is roughly £2.80. So it's fantastic value for money. It's normally pretty fast, you don't have much choice. You get like a choice of 2 soups or 2 mains, but you know, for that price, I'm not complaining. Yeah, this place is by far my favourite place in Chernivtsi. Been here most nights since we've been here. Not just for lunch, but also just for a drink, also like for a meal out at night times. It's a very cool place, very good service, very good food, and also very reasonably priced. And the place is actually so cool. As you can see, you can just sit here and watch the world go by whilst reading the local Schnapps Times. This is what we've got here. Yaku. So we've got a borscht, typical Ukrainian food. Got some bread obviously for borscht, and inside, let's have a look what's inside. So this is a pretty basic version. It's just a lunchtime version. Normally you get sala with it, which is some like pig fat, and you get meat inside it. This is just basically a lunchtime version, and also uzvar. By the way, what is uzvar? It's probably the strangest drink in the world to people who haven't tried it before. It's a kind of smoky juice. It sounds weird, like a smoky juice. What the hell? How can a juice be smoky? But it's hard to explain, but it's good. It's impossible to explain the taste. When you come to Ukraine, try it. Uzvar. So I can't. There's not a cat in hell's chance I can explain to you what that taste is. It's one of a kind, really. So anyway, bon appetit. Good borscht. Borscht is always good in Ukraine. It's the home of borscht. You never get a bad borscht in Ukraine. So I've got my main here. There's a couple of these little kind of pies, it seems, and pork in a mushroom sauce and a bit of cabbage as well. It's not bad. Let's give it a go. Sauce is fantastic. Got a mushroom and double cream sauce, cabbage. It's cold, which is quite unexpected, but it's kind of like a coleslaw kind of dish than an actual salad.
It's not cabbage.
What is it?
It's beetroot.
Oh. It's beetroot, that's why. I thought it was cabbage, but it's actually turns out it's beetroot, which makes sense why it's kind of cold and a bit like a coleslaw. And finally we've got these little like puff pies. I don't know. Let's give it a go. There's a bit of sauce as well, I think it'll go nice. A bit of sauce on there. Very, very good. Super fresh in here. Because the thing with business lunches are, the more they sell, the fresher it is. And this place is very popular, probably the most popular place in the city to get a business lunch. So they're constantly selling, constantly making it. It's always fresh, hot, very good. And for the money, like £2.80 for 2 courses and a drink, I think it's fantastic value for money, guys. You can see here they make their own spirits, it seems. So what's up here? So they make the beer here. So you got the bill here. We got 2. So the missus was also eating with me, but that comes to like 135 hryvnia each. I normally would pay for both, of course. I'm a gentleman. We're not a couple of feminists, but who split the bill. However, today, for the sake of fairness in terms of my challenge, I only paid for my half. What a gentleman. So, pretty well fed. Very good meal for the price. Which means so far I've spent 50 for the coffee and 135 for the food. That comes to, with my maths, 185 hryvnia. Which means I've got left 100 and... oh, it's too much. About 200. No, more. Well, I don't know. I'll work it out. By the way, I'm not including tips in the £10. So I do normally leave a small tip, but that's coming out of my other pocket, so I'm not going to include tips. In Ukraine, it's not fully, it's not compulsory, of course, to tip. It's a bit like in England, but you know, with the situation, with it being so cheap as well, I feel quite bad not tipping personally.
Добрий день. Можна, будь ласка, яблучні наливки? А сколько входит? 100? А 100.
Pretty cool place here. It's called Bilyiy Naliv. It's pretty quiet now. You can get oysters here, and you can also get, well, cider, which is the most common drink. It's the second floor up here, and yeah, you can get get basically that drink. Pretty cool place. Хорошо, сейчас возьму. Дякую. So you can basically, it used to be called the €1 bar in Kharkiv, but let's give it a go. Дякую. Cheers. So trying to work out the math, or the maths. I'm not American. The math. It's so much easier in pounds actually working things out. So you have £10. Something costs £1. The meal costs £3. This costs £1. You got £5 left. You can easily work it out. In Ukraine, when it's in the hundreds, it becomes quite challenging. So the coffee, a bit more than £1. This year, a bit less than £1. So that's basically £2 for this and the coffee. The meal there, a bit less than £3, but let's call it £3 roughly, which means so far I've spent almost half of my £10 budget. And with this, I've got a coffee, 2-course meal, a juice, and a glass of apple wine. So guys, I spent basically half my money, just a bit less than half. Still got a good 230 hryvnia left. So let's see what we can get with this the rest of the day. So I fancy a coffee now. But like in Chernivtsi, as you can see behind me, is they have these stalls which sell newspapers and coffee. It's a very kind of French vibe. Morning newspaper and a coffee in the park. With the beautiful noise of building work going on, but... Right then. Americano с молоком, будь ласка. То есть, вообще кофе нет. Ну поэтому нет кофе. Понятно. Потом. Got no electricity in there. So she said, oh, we've got no electricity. I said, does that mean you have no coffee? She said, we've got no electricity. I said, yeah, but does that mean you have no coffee? She's like, well, obviously, how can you make coffee without electricity? So they do sell newspapers, but I only had a big note, and I thought it was a bit, didn't want to really dig into a big note just to buy a newspaper by itself. Wanted to go find Babushka Secrets, Bold's favourite journal. Get my Babushka Secrets, have to plant tomatoes and make the best uzvar, what we just had in the pub. Seems to have been a power cut in the whole district actually, so the lights don't work. The traffic lights. So yeah, it's my brother's birthday on Sunday. I should be able to get back by then. I got to fly back to England on Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. So I decided with a little bit of the money I got left to buy him a little gift. Probably the cheapest gift I'll ever buy him, to be honest. I'm sure he'll be happy with it. It's a local chili flavoured vodka. A little bottle costs 26 hryvnia, which is about 50p, 55, 60p for a little bottle of vodka. So yeah, not bad. Cheap gift for me. and interesting gift for him. Some true Cossack Ukrainian vodka with chili inside it. Because if vodka's not bad enough by itself, you need to make it even harsher, a bit of chili. By the way, we've got no electricity here as well. Seems like it's the whole district thing. Happens only again in Ukraine. Hopefully it's nothing to do with anything being hit in terms of infrastructure. So I'm up now to go meet a friend. The taxi is £1.45. Ukraine is how easy it is to get taxis about everywhere. They've got lots of different apps. Uber doesn't work so well here, but lots of other ones do. This is Bolt. Very nice houses here. Elite district, it seems. I've got beer. It's about 80p, and add it onto the total, take it off for £10. Accidental beer actually. I thought I was meeting a friend here, but turns out it's a chain of pubs and I'm at the wrong one, so I'm gonna have to quickly have this and then go to the actual pub where I'm meeting. So walking around the streets like a bit of a tramp actually. All my clothes on my back in a very cheap bag you can find for like £1 on any Ukrainian market. It's all my clothes from Kharkiv. I need to come back to this city in 2 weeks time to pick up a couple of documents, so there's no point taking it all back to England. I'll be back here in a couple of weeks anyway, then from there I'll probably get off somewhere else. So I'm going to leave this back at a mate's house for a couple of weeks until I'm back at the middle end of October. I should start asking for money off people. Start begging. Got to hear Big Burger. Kind of knock off Burger King. Even before the war, they've never had Burger King in Ukraine. McDonald's, KFC, but never Burger King. So you get some ingenious ideas of kind of knock off Burger Kings. This is my bag, by the way. A favourite choice of the Ukrainian babushka. You see them always with these bags coming back from the market, on the trains. Travelling with style. I did have a suitcase at one point. No, I've just got a Ukrainian babushka bag to get around Ukraine with. These second-hand shops, by the way, are fantastic. This is called the Euro second-hand. Oh shit, it's my bus. Please stop somewhere. Sorry, running with a babushka bag, it's quite difficult. Oh, I missed it. I'll walk to the next stop. Telephone box, I feel at home. You can phone people, I think, in this telephone box. It's really cool. I feel like I'm travelling somewhere. I feel like I'm going somewhere on the bus, on the train to another country, back on the road again, but actually I'm just going to the pub. I'm just literally giving this back to a mate at the pub. Bloody hell. It's not always easy in Ukraine. God is coming soon. Are you ready? It says. Tell you what, guys, I don't know how my day went downhill so fast. Started off drinking beautiful coffee, a nice Vienna bar, cafe. listening to nice French music, taking a stroll up and down the street in the sun. And now I'm walking the streets like I've been kicked out with a babushka bag and literally all my clothes on my back.
А де тут вихід? Вихід.
Так, на Комарова сюди. Дальше і справа.
Ага, дякую.
Мужчина стоїть дальше.
Labyrinth. I'm lost in a market. Будь ласка. Oh, bloody hell. What a mine. Not a mine. What a maze that amazing market was. This kid's been waiting here for the last 2 years, it seems. Nobody stopped to let him go. Poor kid. And over there as well, his friend, they were trying to meet each other. So finally made it here. Got a fantastic view of a typical Ukrainian spalny rayon. In English it may be... У нас нет даже такого слова, спальный район. Just a typical Soviet Union style, Ukrainian style buildings. Mm-hmm. Cheers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a bad little pub actually. Very cheap place, I can say. So if I show you guys the menu, the beer menu, for example, you probably don't understand a thing, apart from the guys who speak and understand the Cyrillic alphabet. So this is basically beer. And there's about 15 types of beer, and the most expensive out of these is 90p, and the cheapest is 30 grivna, which is literally like 65p. I got a vodka as well, or Huralnia. It's like less than a pound. That's 100-gram shot as well. That's crazy. They don't even have shots by the, like in England it's 25 milliliters. Here it's by the 100 milliliters. So you get a 100 milliliter shot of vodka for less than a pound. Maybe I'll have to give it a go, guys. I don't know. For the sake of tradition. So I think I finally spent up my £10. I've had today, oh, I think it's, I've not paid the bill yet, but it's definitely not more than £10. So what I've had so far, I've had a coffee in the first cafe. I've had a 2-course meal and a drink. I've had the kind of apple wine in Bilyiy Naliv. Got a small bottle of vodka. I had a coffee after that. I got a taxi here. I got one beer when I was lost in the first bar. I've had 2 beers here, final going home soon, and also some nuts. So yeah, you can see probably for £10 in these days in a small town like Chernivtsi, you can get by. You can, yeah. And like I say, the aim of this video isn't to kind of kick a man while he's down economically. Is to try to encourage more of you guys to come here as soon as things get sorted out. Even now, potentially could come here. It's pretty safe in a western city like Chernivtsi, and the idea is more to promote the place, get people coming here, get the place back on its feet, than it is to kind of show, oh, how, well, yeah, the local currency is so weak that it's so cheap for people with foreign currencies. It's not about that at all. Cheers. He's from Kharkiv, but he moved here in the first few days of the war. He actually left Kharkiv the same day as me. And Sergei is the head of the Kharkiv Reds, which is a massive Manchester United support club based in Kharkiv.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.